What's up guys, Brendan Hancock here with another episode of Groove Subaru today. And yes, they're finally here, the 2018 Subaru Outbacks. We've been waiting for them for months now, and they're finally on our lot. We've got a variety of different trim levels and option packages here for you guys to choose from. So let's take a look and see some of the new things here on the new 2018 Subaru Outback. So we brought along a couple of trim levels here for you today. In front, I have the 2.5i Limited with option package 24. So this is really gonna be the fully loaded, with the wood grain trim, the dual automatic climate control, leather seats, EyeSight nav, you name it. To my right over here in the Wilderness Green, I have a 2.5i Premium. This one's gonna come with a couple of extra features such as the EyeSight, the moonroof, the navigation, etc. But it's gonna give us a little bit of an idea of what the middle of the road trim level is gonna be like for us. Both of these two right here, both have EyeSight, both of them have high beam assist. However, now you have an option for two different types of auto dimming mirrors when you have EyeSight. You can either get one that has the third camera up here, or, which this one does not, or you can get it that actually does have it. So that one does not have the third camera for high beam assist. This one does. It's just a little bit of a different design with a different mirror. Still gonna do exactly the same thing, just kind of personal preference there. And then finally over here on the far left, we've got the 2.5i Outback. This is gonna be the introductory level, the base model, so to speak of, to kind of give us a broad variety of what we're looking at here with the 2018 Outback. So they've made a lot of changes. This is not a complete redesign, but we've definitely done quite a few updates to make this a huge improvement over the 2017. So if we're taking a look at the front, this is where you're going to notice a lot of the changes on the exterior of the new 2018 Outback. First and foremost, you guys have probably seen it already, the grille. It is definitely a new design for 2018. If you guys remember previously on the 2017, 2016s, each one of these sort of grille crossings here were all sort of the same color. They were kind of a lighter aluminum color, so to speak. But right here we have a much more prominent chrome one that's level with the actual badge. Kind of gives it almost a bald eagle wing-like feel to it. I don't know if that's I mean, it doesn't look exactly, more of a seagull, kind of a, you guys got the idea, it's okay. But it's definitely much more bold and really highlights the badge in particular. So I do actually like that feature quite a bit. The other thing here, we do have a sort of adjustment here to the headlights. We do finally have steering responsive LED headlights on the Outback. If you guys remember previously in 2017, it was the Forester and the Impreza that had that feature. So we were waiting for that for the Outback. And yes, it's finally here. We do have a little bit more of an aggressive design. You can kind of see how it kind of extends a little bit more into the center there as well, which just gives it a little bit more sharp angles, a little bit more aggressive, which we really like to see here, which previously the Outback doesn't really do tons of. So the other thing that we can see here as well, the bottom down here on the bottom part of the grille, or I'm sorry, on the bumper is definitely been modified a little bit more cladding, a little bit more plastic. But the thing that's nice about it though is a lot of our customers actually do take these cars off the beaten path, so that extra cladding and protection on the bottom there really helps to preserve the vehicle long term, which we also like to see. So a couple of other things that we're going to see on the exterior of the vehicle that are a little bit different. On the sides, not too much. We do have a little bit of a redesign for the wheel. They are still 18-inch alloys. They still look relatively similar, but we're gonna get a little bit of a redesign there, just a little bit different. We don't have those notches like we used to have around the outside on 2017s. The other thing that we have different on the outside here is going to be the side mirrors. So these are, you guys might sort of recognize these. These are kind of from the 2017 Impreza, so the design is very similar. Those are definitely carrying over. We're seeing a lot of stuff coming from the Impreza on because it's the one that's on the global platform, and eventually everything's going to kind of move over onto that platform. So we're definitely seeing things little by little kind of carrying over here, and this is what we're seeing here on the Outback. So a little bit thinner design here, a little bit more sleek, elegant, and the other cool thing I like about it is the blind spot detection is actually on the inside now, so you can actually see it out of your peripherals. You don't need to actually turn your entire head to see if there's something in the mirror, which was where it was in 2017. Other than that, on the sides, I don't notice too much. I don't think there's a lot of differences here. Same thing kind of on the back here, if you guys follow me around to the back. Same sort of thing, we do still have the reverse automatic braking, but one thing I do like is that we finally have the trajectory showing us the path as we turn the steering wheel. The backup camera has adjusted just like we've seen on the Impreza. The other improvement though that I do see on the rear bumper is they have improved the approach angles on the corners. So previously they used to dip down a little bit more, which kind of hurts you on those approach angles if you are taking it a little bit off-road. Now it's a little bit raised up there, increasing better approach angles on the back of the vehicle. So that's really it for the outside on the 2.5i Limited. A couple things we've talked about here we can really see over on the base model, a little bit different grille here on the base model though. So instead of a little bit more of a gunmetal, we've got sort of the black plastic here. Same thing on the side mirrors for the base. And then both the premium, or both the base and the premium, do also have the 17-inch alloy wheels. So in terms of exterior, there's not too much different we haven't talked about on the premium. So why don't we go take a look on the inside of this 2.5i Limited and see some of the changes they've made for 2018. All right, so we're here inside the 2018 Outback, and there's definitely a lot of things that have changed on the interior of this vehicle, even more so in my opinion than on the outside. So first, if we take a look at the door, we've definitely seen some changes here. If you haven't noticed it already, gray leather. What? Gray leather in an Outback? I haven't seen that. Maybe you guys did it 30 years ago, but not that you told me about. So right here, we do have a gray leather on the inside, still kind of have that restrictions with color, so some of them aren't gonna offer that color. We are still gonna see ivory, we are still gonna see black, but gray is now an additional option, not just available on the Forester. If you guys have noticed here, the stitching pattern too, that's a little bit different. This carries over directly, it looks like, from the Legacy Sport, although on the Legacy Sport, this gray sort of pattern there would actually be cloth, but definitely some carryover there that we're gonna see. In terms of the memory positions, the wood grain trim, all that seems to look the same. But the one thing that we've been asking for a while is automatic lock and unlock. So now, as you start driving, the doors do lock. I can finally say that to customers as they ask. They're like, well, why doesn't it do this? My 2011 Nissan does it. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know why it doesn't do it. Now it does do it. Now it does do it. So I'm very, very happy about that. You also have automatic unlock too. So even if the doors are locked, you hit the unlock thing if you're in the front and it'll unlock the door automatically. You can walk out, you're good to go. Now, if we carry on over to here, a couple things we're gonna notice. Not too much here different. I do notice, I think, just a little bit of a redesign here on the buttons. I mean, they're in the same order, in the same place and everything, but they look a little bit smaller, possibly like they're carrying them over directly from the Crosstrek and Impreza. Even though they don't have those lift gates and features on there, it just, to me personally, it just appears that I've seen these before and they look a little bit different than they did in 2017. Not a huge thing though. Now, if we do look up here on the dash, we do have the silver stitching also on the steering wheel, but all the way across the dash as well. Gives it that nice, elegant look. A lot of other auto manufacturers are doing the stitching here, so it's good for Subaru to see that as well. I very much liked seeing that in the Impreza. I think it does a huge thing for the car. If we look over here to the steering wheel, a couple of things we're going to notice. We've got a new 3-spoke design, definitely a smaller wheel, and I also noticed when I was driving it earlier, seems that they've kind of tightened up the steering ratio a little bit as well, just like they have with the Crosstrek. So the smaller wheel, a little bit more prominent 10-2 grips here. Really, really like that. Looks a little bit more sporty. Kind of looks like what we've been seeing on the Ascent concept there. So I would not be surprised if this steering wheel is basically exactly like what we see on the Ascent. I don't know that as fact, just guessing here. But this is a very, very nice wheel. I really, really like the feel of it. It's definitely a little bit more sporty and easier for those who have smaller hands and stuff as well. But even for people who have a little bit bigger hands, still very, very comfortable. A little bit more of a sporty feel there. So I do like that. Now, a couple of other things too. I've heard a lot of complaints previously about where the clock used to be located in the middle here. Now, we still have the clock located here, but we've also added to the multifunction steering wheel now, to the multifunction screen up here. You can actually have a look at the time there as well. So you're not having to constantly look over to the right, and even in the center stack, the clock is actually a little bit bigger as well. So it is easier to see than it used to be. We also do have now tire pressure units available here as well. So that's a very, very nice feature to have. A couple other things about the steering wheel. We are seeing a lot of the piano key black here, kind of like on the Touring Outback previously. So this is just a limited, this is not a Touring, but we are seeing some of the piano key black features, including on the shifter boot over here as well, we're seeing that. All right, guys, so this is the new center stack on the 2018 Outback. We've seen a couple of things here before previously on the Impreza as well as on the new 2018 Crosstrek, if you guys have checked out those videos. But this is the new Starlink 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple Carplay and Android Auto. So we do have both of those features here. You do in the base model Outback, you do have a 6.5-inch touchscreen. So that is not seen here, but you will also get the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in those trim levels of the Outback as well. Now, if we go back here to the home screen, this is basically what we've seen on the Impreza and Crosstrek. However, we do have car info here, which is another button we don't have on those vehicles, at least that I've seen, which does give you some more driving statistics, a vehicle monitor thing to look at your average speed and fuel economy, and then also maintenance, which even gives you the ability to call the dealership if you store a specific dealership in there, which is super cool. So if you go back to the home screen here, in terms of like the radio settings and all of that kind of stuff, all of that's going to look pretty much exactly the same. We don't have you know, the USB or anything plugged in here, but all of that same as we've seen on the Impreza and the Crosstrek, but much cleaner and smoother than the previous infotainment system. I really like this new setup. In terms of up here though, not tons different than the Impreza or Crosstrek. This, however, is entirely new. We haven't seen this. This is super cool. I love this, the digital temperature in the middle of the actual dial. So we actually do have an on and off switch here, you can see. So no longer are you actually pushing this button where it says auto, so we can just turn it on and off here, and you can actually turn full auto on or off as you make adjustments to fan speed, AC, so on and so forth. No longer do we have a dual climate button, although it's still dual climate control, but now you have a sync button here. So this would give you the individual sort of the dual setting, or if you wanted to sync it, you could do both at the same time. Mode button pretty much the same, fan speed, and the front and rear defroster with the heated windshield and side mirrors as well. So all of the same features, just a little bit smoother setup here. We do have a larger time, so easier to see there. And then as I mentioned as well, we do also have the time over here in the middle to take a look at as well, which is just easier to see and honestly safer. If you can keep your eyes more on the road and look for what you're looking for, just makes things that much easier. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of sort of the leg and headroom here. Now I'm 6'1" and I'm sitting behind myself, so I've got roughly about 5 to 6 inches of legroom here, and I've got probably, if I'm sitting up totally straight, probably 3 inches or so of headroom there. So very comfortable for adults or kids. You can definitely fit more than 2 car seats back here. And then also, just because this is the limited, we do have the vents here and the heated seats, but also new for 2018, we have USB plug-in here, so you can charge your phone and listen to things. So super awesome. We've been asking for that for a while, and Subaru's finally listened to us, and we do have that available. We also have it on the premium over there, although unfortunately the USB chargers are not in the base model of the new 2018 Outback. So sad. Well, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. If you guys haven't seen our other videos on the 2018 Outback, make sure to check them out. We've got a test drive review and also a side-by-side comparison of the 2017 to the 2018 Subaru Outback. Thanks so much, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe today. See you guys next time on Groove Subaru Today.